Hi everyone. This video is to talk about problem set 3. Most of you did a great job. I will just share my answers, which is not the unique answer, and I believe, like under different assumptions, you might get different results. So just for your reference, let me get started. So on the left-hand side, here is the Excel sheet. Excel file that I'm gonna use for problem 2. I will start with problem 1, so this one is not relevant for now. Please focus on the right-hand side. So this is your problem set that you get. The first question is basically testing testing if you can use the CAPM formula and test your ability to find the related information online. So the first one is find a publicly traded REIT that specializes in offices in second-tier cities. So different people have different answers, which is totally fine. And the answer I have here is Washington Prime Group Inc., WPG, because it focuses on shopping centers in secondary locations. So since their focus is consistent with the property that I'm analyzing this problem set, so this is the one I choose. And look up the beta in Yahoo Finance, and many of you did a great job. So the beta of that rate is 0.91. So here, usually the stocks or indexes or rate, the beta would be around 1. So like 0.8, 1.5, something like that would be reasonable. So I believe everyone find reasonable number, so which is totally fine. And just keep in mind it's within some range. And third one is if you fail to find, because I find, then this one is not relevant. And let's use this CAPM equation to calculate the expected return. So to use this equation, what we need is risk-free rate, beta already given or already found, expected risk premium. So this whole thing is called, which is here. So I see some of you, it's already assumed to be 6%. And I see some of you are using 6% minus the risk-free rate that you find. This is not right, this is wrong. So because risk premium, this concept already include the risk-free rate deducted from the market rate. So if you deduct again, that's duplicate. It's not necessary, and you should not do that. So this is given, and the beta already given. So actually this question is asking you what is the risk-free rate, and you choose from the 10-year treasury bill and use annual rate quoted in percentage points. So this means if you find 1.9 online, it means 1.9% annually. So some of you in the answer, you don't include the percentage symbol, which is, I understand what you're doing, but it's better to put the percentage sign in your solution, which would be more specific and more correct. So here, this is the one I found earlier, but the most updated one might be different. So this number should be around 2, like 1, 2 in recent years. If you find something too big, that might be a problem. If you find something negative, that's also a problem. So you plug everything in, I plug my numbers here in, then I get this. So 7.7% something. This is the expected return of the rate WPG. So let's look at problem 2. You heard that the experts anticipate that future annual rent growth will be half of the annual growth in period of 2013 to 2016, quarter 2. So this is the plot that you're gonna use. Basically, A and B are just giving you information, and starting from C, we're answering the question. This 7% is the cap rate that you're gonna use in year 2013, and 6% is the one that you use in year 2016. And the hint has been very specific here. So what you want is just to plug in the number here. And cap rate is already given, 7% here and 6.5% here. So the only thing we need to get is the price per square feet, which is from this plot. And you need to use, because we need to get the growth rate for Columbus, which means we need to use the city line, so the orange line here. And the chart starts from the target period and ends at the target period that we are interested in. This is around like 80 something or 81, whatever you choose is fine. And this ending point is around maybe 88, 87. So if you plug it in, oops, okay, yeah, the number here looks a little bit not correct, but yeah, I will adjust the number later. So anyway, this is the goal, and you plug in the price per square feet. Here you get the number, the one that times the cap rate. Because from 2013 to 2016, it's 3 years. So it's a 3-year period. So what you need to do is you need to get the annual return, which is, some of you use the average annual return. So you get the rent per square feet here and rent per square feet in 2013, and you divide this, use price in 2016 minus price in 2013 divided by 3, and you get the annual return. This is totally fine. And the result should not be that different for you if you use a geometric return, which let's just use this number here. If you use geometric return, it's gonna be these two prices divided by the ending price divided by the beginning price to the power of 1/3, because you want to get the annual return. This covers 3 years. So you'll get this number. Please ignore this 4%. And because the expert says the future annual growth rate will be half of the annual growth rate. So after I get 2.something% here, 2.6%, I need to halve it. So the predicted growth would be 1.3%. Some of you forget to halve it, which gonna be a problem. And if you get too big number, like around 3% for the growth rate, I would say it's definitely wrong. You must forget to halve it. So then you get the growth rate, and the next question is, so you're gonna calculate the cap rate, which is expected rate return minus the growth rate. It's just 7% minus 1.3%, which is 5.7%. That's it. And yeah, there are some discussions saying the offer price is too low because the cap rate, the rational or the correct cap rate should be even lower. Yeah, this is for the first question. Then let's go to the second question. What is an NN lease? So we also covered it in our guest speak. And it basically means the tenant will take care of all the expenses that occurs. So as a comparison, like if I own an apartment and I rent it out, that's usually just a normal lease. I don't know what was the exact name, but usually if you rent out residential property, the tenant only take care of the rent that they pay you, and you need to pay for HOA and also annual taxes to the city, and also at the end of each fiscal year, or like around now, you need to pay the tax to the at federal level and also state level. So those are all the owner's responsibility. But NNN lease is different. So all the expenses will go for rent, will go for the tenant, and the landlord just to collect the leftover. So just some detour and for your inference. So I see the second one is what is the annual rent for the tenant to pay. So NOI basically is just the purchase price times the cap rate. And this is given in the brochure. I will not scroll down over there. So here I have the answer. The purchase price is 3.1 million and the cap rate is 7%, which are given. So the tenant will pay the tenant will pay rent at 217,000 per year, and majority of you, almost everyone, got it right, which is really good. And the second one asks you, suppose you negotiate the price down to the price that is 4% lower than the current one. What is the cap rate? Then the new cap rate will be still the same NOI that you just got, 217,000 divided by the new price. New price will be the old price times 1 minus 4%, which is here. So as expected, because the price is decreased, so the cap rate increases to 7.3%, higher than 7%. If you negotiate down more, which is 8%, then you get even higher cap rate, which is 7.6% here. These two are very straightforward, and most of you got it right, which is really good. And let's go to question 5. Suppose you finance the property using equity only. So starting from for question 5 and 6, you're assuming you'll finance it with your own money. So it's all equity purchase. And this information is to get the sale rate. So starting at year 11, the rent increases by 20%. So the new NOI will be 217,000 times 1.2. And it will grow by 2% from here on. This is a little bit confusing or misleading, because some of you use 7.5% minus 2%, which equals to 5.5% as the terminal cap rate that you plug into the formula for the sale price. So some of you use like new NOI divided by 5.5%. This is wrong, because again, I think I already emphasized it at least twice for the two problems. That's cap rate already includes growth rate. If you minus growth rate again, I don't know what it is called. So it's definitely not a cap rate. So you have to use 7.5% still, although here is some like 2% growth. It might be useful for other problem, but at other places, but not here. So let's say problem 5, what's the price at which you will sell the property at the end of year 10? I already said, so use new NOI divided by 7.5%, which is 217K times 1.2 divided by 7.5%, which is 3.472 million. Very straightforward. And again, the value is at year 10. And question 6, suppose show that the net cash flow of the investment in year 0 to 10, and what is the IRR, what is the payback period? How long will it take for cash investors to recover her investment? So please look at the left-hand side. This is the all equity case. Let me explain where the number comes from. This one equals to the purchase price, which is here. What is it? It's the purchase price times 1.02 minus. Because I think you already realized there is a 2% transaction cost on both purchase and the sale. So remember, this is called transaction costs. So some of you here plug in like one is got something like even minus 3 million something, but like smaller number, absolute number than 3.1 million. So because it's a cost, it will increase your investment amount, but will decrease your sale price. So in other words, the multiplier on the purchase price will be 1.02, but the multiplier on the sale price will be 0.98, because when you sell it, you have to pay 2% so that you don't get as much as you can without any, if there is no transaction cost. But when you buy it, you have to pay more than the price, which is 3.1 million. You have to pay more than this, just the purchase price, because you pay extra money as the transaction cost. So to make it clear, this is very important. So you get this number. If it's all equity, you invest in 3.162 million, and you will get everything here is in thousand. So you will get 217,000 every year, which lasts for, here you can see, which lasts for 10 years. And this one will increase the rent times plus this sale price, this 3.402 something million is the sale price, adjusted the transaction cost. So this number is the new rent, which is after 20% growth, divided by 7.5% times 0.98. So you, in the last year, you get the sale price adjusted by transaction cost plus the rent at the end of this year. So it's totally fine if you don't include the rent here, like 217%, 17K, because some of you argues that assume the new owner will collect the rent payment. So I don't want to add it. It's fine. So if you don't have that 217, it will be around 6.9%. It's also fine. So the answer I'm looking at is around 7% would be reasonable. And I see, oh, oops. And I see some of you found some negative, huge negative rate IRR, which is actually very cute. So because some of you forgot to include the sale price. So if you only include the rent every year, of course it's minus, it's negative return. But as an investor, you should get what you should get, right? You should get the sale price. So this is the one that you should get. Anyway, so the one I'm looking for is around 7%. It'll be fine. What is the payback period? So payback period, I know you must do some research online, maybe on Google. It says, oh, it's just the purchase price divided by the year cash flow. So if you just use this one divided by 217, it will be around 15 years, which is wrong. Why? Because that formula this formula applies to constant fixed cash flow that goes forever. It's like perpetuity without growth. But this is different because in this case, you will sell everything after 10 years, at the end of 10 years. So what you should do is this is the cash flow you get at the end of year 1. This is the cumulative cash flow that you get at the end of year 2. Let me fix the. So I'm looking for the number that is bigger than the purchase price for the first time. So until the end of year 9, you only get 1.9 million, around 2 million back, compared to 3.1 million that you invest. This is not enough. But at the end of year 10, you get around like 5.6 million, which is bigger than this purchase price. So year 10 is 10 year is the payback period. In other words, the payback period is the first time, like how many years it takes for you to get your initial investment back. And in this case, because the rent in the middle are so low, so you can only get it paid back until you sell it. So in other words, the payback period is 10 years. I see some numbers like 9.8 or 10.1. I don't know, I'm not sure what it means because you only have annual return, right? You don't have somewhere in the middle like 9.8 year. At that time, I get my money back. It's only at the end of year 10 that you get your money back. So this is the answer. No other like digitals or decimals. Okay, so let's go to question 7, which starts to involve a bank. A bank offers a loan. First, the cases is loan is 10-year loan that based on 30-year amortization. So you can see from left-hand side, this spreadsheet, these numbers are for the 30-year amortization. What is the annual payment? This number is just following what we get from cost, from the annuity formula. So because the present value is the bank's investment or the loan amount. This one is 80% of the purchase price. It's net of, so it has nothing to do with the transaction cost, because when bank lends you money, it's based on the value of the property, but not the transaction cost. So here, LTV is 3.1 million. 80% is financed by the bank. So in other words, the bank will give you 2.48 million. Time is 30 years. Rate 4% is annual rate. And this is the one that you can get at annual basis, annual frequency in this problem. The annual payment to the firm, to the bank, sorry for that. And still is in 1,000 basis. This is the payment, and this is the interest. Everything here are very standard, following the amortization table that we covered in class. And what is balance due in 10 years? So here, and balance would be 1949,000, so 1.9 million. I see some answers is 2 million. It's wrong. It is actually due in year 9. In year 10 means at the end of year 10. So the end balance would be this one. But I'm not saying you only pay the bank this amount. You still pay this amount because you have to pay the interest. Not exactly this amount. This is the amount you have to pay. So the end balance plus the payment. So in other words, the ending balance will just be the principal side that you want to pay, you need to pay the bank. You also need to pay the interest. So altogether, you still pay this payment to the bank plus the ending balance. So I hope I'm clear here. So in other words, this at the end of year 10, that the money you need to pay to the bank is the ending balance, which is the remaining of the principal that you still owe the bank at the end of year 10, plus the payment that you need to pay, which covers the interest rate for this year, as well as the depreciation on the principal. So what I want to say is this 2 million is not right, is that at the beginning of the period. Assume you sell the property after 10 years and use the proceeds to pay off the remaining balance of the loan. I'm talking about question 9. Yeah, I think I already answered this cash flow for each year for the bank. So this is the bank loan or bank. For the bank, invests 2.48 million and gets the payments every year. And at the end, get this around 2.1 million back. So altogether is the bank's cash flow, and this is ARR calculated based on the numbers on the cash flow, which is just 4%. It makes sense because it should be 4% because the bank lends you at 4%. What are the cash flows for the investor? So as an investor, you don't need to invest, this big amount of money. You only need to invest the leftover. So this one is just the difference between these two. There is some sign issue that you need to take care of, but this is the investment, which is 682,000 at the beginning. And every year you collect the residual from the rent after pay the payment to the bank. So basically it's just this number, 73.6 thousand, and it will last for at least 9 years. Things are slightly more complicated at the end of year 10. At the end of year 10, you will get the sale price adjusted by the transaction cost minus the payment to bank. Still, the payment includes the annual payment and the ending balance. I will just delete this part just to make things look easier. So from here, I calculate the ARR. It's around 16%. So when I'm grading, I'm looking for similar number. If you get like 15 or 17, it's fine. And you must made some different assumptions in terms of like maybe you didn't get the transaction cost correct, or you get some like this part wrong. I don't know, but around this number would be fine. But if you get like 25% here, it will be probably wrong. And let's see what is the payback period. So still, payback period is just a cumulative cash flow until the first year that you get your investment back. So here, at the end of year 9, you only get cumulatively 662,000, which is still lower than your initial investment. You only get the initial investment back at the end of year 10. So your payback period is still 10 years. This is problem 10. For 11, so problem 11 tests your understanding of the shape of interest rate. So I will just tell you the answer, and it's better for you to think more and then understand what's going on. So here is the answer. Specifically here, let's assume the 10% LTV will cost you X as interest rate. This question is, so the goal is to find X that make the weighted average of the interest the same as if you're lending at 90% LTV, which costs 5%. In other words, 5% times 90% LTV, this is the interest that you're paying on this ideal 90% loan, will equals to, this is the 4%, this is the 80% LTV at 4%. This is the interest that you pay on this loan. And this is the interest that you pay on the second loan. So it's 10% LTV times X. X is the interest rate that you are trying to get. So this whole thing, left-hand side, should be equal. I think this is LTV can be just eliminated because it just showed up everywhere. Yeah, you can see you can cancel out the 3.1 million. Then use this formula, you should get 13%. It's very simple. So actually LTV doesn't matter because you can just assume you borrow $1. Yeah. Anyway, 13% is the one I'm looking for. Theoretically, you should not get any numbers other than this, but in some cases, I just let it go, like I don't deduct any points. So just to make sure you understand here. Oh, I'm sorry. And let's go to problem 12. Recalculate the ARR and the period for investor and combined loan of 90%. So basically it's asking problems through 7 to 10 again on the new loan, which is 90% LTV at 5%. Here is my new spreadsheet. So the present value will be higher. Present value means the loan amount toward the bank. And time period doesn't change. Interest rate increases from 4% to 5%. Your annual payment increases due to the difference. So it becomes 181.5 thousand around. This is the amortization table, just following what we got in cost. And these numbers are just the annual payment toward the firm, toward the bank. And still this one is the ending balance plus the payment at the end of year 10. So if you get the ARR of the loan here, will be 5%. No surprise, it's just the same as the interest rate because this is the bank is asking. And from as an investor, you invest much less money than the 680 something thousand. Now you only invest 372,000, which is still the difference between these two. And the cash flow here you get is just a rent net loan payment. So the residual goes to you. It lasts for 9 years. And then here is just the one, still is transaction cost adjusted from the sale price, plus the minus the loan payment at the end, including the payment, annual payment and the ending balance, minus everything that you need to pay to the bank. And then this is what you get after sale by selling the property. And the IRR is basically based on this column, which is 18%. So you can, when I'm grading still, I'm looking for something around like 18%. Even if you get 16%, which is supposed to be here, I treat it as fine. Yeah, so this is, okay, the payback period. These two. I'm not as good as Excel as professor. So this is your cumulative gain. Still, until the end of year 10, you don't get your initial investment back. It's at the end of year 10 that you get everything back. So the payback period is still 10 years. Okay. Question 13 is an open question. So the standard answer for this one would be the benefit is apparently compared to 80% leverage. Here you get higher IRR, you get higher return. But as we explained in class, the NOI, the rent might be volatile, might be risky. So the higher the leverage you take, the more likely that you will go bankruptcy. Go bankruptcy means you cannot repay the bank, like you cannot pay the annual payment or the promised payments to the bank. So that's the risk part. It's always like the higher risk, the more return that you get. Think about stock market. Stock market is much more volatile. And for some stocks, it's like gamble maybe. So on average, it also earns higher return. So the more like, or if you think about a treasury bill, the government promised to pay you like whatever the interest every year that you are supposed to get. US government at least is less likely to go bankruptcy, and it's very constant, very fixed payment. So it's very risk-free, very safe investment. So your return would be much lower. So basically, it's problem 13 is asking this: what's the pros and cons to lever up? And it's about the risk and return. Will it be rational for investors to buy the property without debt financing? You can do that. I mean, as long as it's a relatively safe place, you will just collect everything to yourself. You don't own the bank, anything. So some people might prefer this. But as a result, you will earn lower return because you're basically investing all the money by yourself. Yeah, that's all I have. And please let me know if you still feel confused or if you have questions about some details that I didn't cover here. Thank you.